This is the Scream Factory release of The Midnight Man on Blu-ray. And what Scream is slated to release this on June 5th, 2018. So when you are looking to find this, you'll be seeing it on store shelves June 5th, 2018. This is an early copy that we're going to be having a look at here. Having never looked at The Midnight Man before, I decided to give it a try, a approach to the movie with a rather clean slate, if you will. The movie stars Robert Englund, Gabriel Haw, and Lynn Shay, who you may recognize that name from the 4 Insidious movies in which she appeared in. As for The Midnight Man himself, again, like I said, I had gone into watching the movie with an absolute clean slate, having never really... I've heard of The Midnight Man, I think, only through Robert Englund's movies. I happened to see a trailer for it. It piqued my curiosity, and sure enough, I ended up giving it a watch. And I have to say, overall, I was rather impressed with The Midnight Man. It does fall into some familiar categories of horror, which I'll talk about in a second. But the premise of The Midnight Man is that there's a young girl caring for her aged, older grandmother after her mother's passing. Her mother, I think, passed when she was 10, so she's older now, looking and caring for her grandmother. Her grandmother asks, while in bed, for her to fetch her mirror, her little portable mirror. She goes up to the attic and goes through the box, the contents of the box, only find a smaller, very heavily wrapped up box, a little small cardboard box. She opens it up only to find some candles, a salt shaker, a pencil, and a list of not only participants, but also the rules for the game to summon the Midnight Man. In order to summon this monstrosity, what you would end up having to do is you would take the pencil, write your name on the bottom of the list of the people that have participated previously in the Midnight Man game. You have to prick your finger with a needle, dab next to your name with your own blood, put it up on a front wooden door. The door has to be wooden. And then just before the final bell tolls at midnight, you have to knock 22 times while holding your candle lit in hand. You have to go outside, blow out the candle. I know it seems like a lot of rules. But you have to go outside, blow out the candle, come inside, and relight the candle. And the Midnight Man is now in your house. You have to survive and avoid the Midnight Man at all costs until the time reaches 3:33 in the morning. That's very unique, a very specific time. But you have to survive till 3:33. You can't have your candle go out, or in 10 seconds, the Midnight Man will come for you. And if your candle does go out, you have to take your salt shaker and basically put a ring around you and stand inside that ring of salt so the Midnight Man will not attack you until you're able to relight the candle again. Does seem like a lot of rules, doesn't it? Well, despite that, I have to admit that, like I had mentioned, that the movie does feel like something I had seen before, and the one I could compare this one to is The Bye Bye Man, also a horror movie that feels the need to add man on the end of it. Now, whereas Bye Bye Man, I feel, was unsuccessful because it didn't really establish what exactly was required to summon the Bye Bye Man. Clearly, at the very least, the Midnight Man has very structured rules. They seem at times to be overly rule-heavy, but at the very least, you know exactly what to expect. If your candle goes out, you know you have to make the circle of salt around you, or you have to immediately light your candle in 10 seconds time, or the Midnight Man will come. And when the Midnight Man does come for you, he summons your utmost, most deepest fears. So if you're, say, for example, say you're afraid of water, the Midnight Man will come to you, summoning something water-related, and you may die as a result of that. But like I said, it does feel very much like the Bye Bye Man, but I would say this is a much more well-organized version of the Bye Bye Man, who, that movie did seem to kind of veer off course. A lot of times when I was watching that movie, I didn't quite know, okay, so what happens with the Bye Bye Man? He's got coins, and he's got a dog, a giant mutant dog, and you're not supposed to say his name, you're not supposed to thank him. I mean, that seems very open concept. Midnight Man pretty much tells you this is what you have to do. At midnight, if you summon the Midnight Man, you have to survive till 3:33. As for the movie itself, I rather enjoyed it. It did feel at times that it did pace relatively slow. There were a few little lull points to the Midnight Man, but the overall payoff, I think, was there. At the very least, my one disappointment with the movie was the fact that you really don't see a lot of the Midnight Man himself. In fact, actually, the cover here that now Scream Factory has presented on their release gives you a better concept of what the Midnight Man looks like. A lot of times, the movie is so dark, the way it's shot, and a lot of times Midnight Man is just kind of an imposing, shadowy figure. You may see like reflection points on his face, but you never really get a good, clear idea of what the Midnight Man looks like. Above that, he also seems to have masks. So he takes off and changes his face over the course of the movie. So he's never quite one unique design, even though he does always have the cloak going for him. The runtime, by the way, on the Midnight Man looks at 93 minutes, so it's not overly long. It's actually, other than the few little short bursts of boredom where the movie kind of goes a little slow here, the movie as a whole didn't feel long. The movie as a whole felt pretty short, even though there are moments where it did drag a little bit. A quick read-up on the back of the new cover here from Scream Factory. It was supposed to be just an urban legend. On a snowy night in her grandmother's sprawling mansion, teenager Alex, played by Gabriel Haw, and her best friend Miles. Oh, and also, by the way, if Gabriel Haw does sound familiar to you as well, I think on IMDb, she's only got cameoed, she'd only got credited for about 6 roles. One of the roles is from Jeepers Creepers 3. So in case you maybe recognize the girl here, she was also from Jeepers Creepers 3. So Alex, teenager Alex, and her best friend Miles, played by Grace and Gabriel, discover a mysterious box hidden away in the attic. Inside are the instructions for the Midnight Game, an ancient pagan ritual said to summon the player's greatest fears. It all seems like harmless fun to Alex and Miles until they unleash the terrifying spirit of the Midnight Man, an unholy force who pits them against their darkest demons and dares them to survive. Horror legends Robert Englund, A Nightmare on Elm Street, and Lin Shaye, Insidious, co-star in this terrifying supernatural game of cat and mouse. Play at your own risk. Special features, I might also add on here, is very limited. They have the Midnight Man theatrical trailer, and then what I was hoping to be some featurettes. Sadly, it was not the case. However, you do get the Midnight Man 2013 original Irish feature film. Now, I have to be honest to you, I did watch the Midnight Man in all of its entirety. It was so late into the night that I decided only to start watching the Midnight Man, the original Irish one, and I got about a third of the way through. It's much more of a lower budget movie, and I feel at times it plays a little bit more to laughs than anything else. This one does not really seem to have any of the laughs, this movie here, in hand. The release date, by the way, was 2016. I don't recall this one ever hitting my radar as a movie that hit the theaters, but apparently it was released to some extent, I think in Irish markets. I don't think it actually got a North American release, not that I'm aware of at least. Again, features are very limited on it. It's a good big budget movie. It doesn't feel low budget. The actors brought in, aside from really Lin Shaye and Robert Englund, are relative unknowns, which I guess is not necessarily a bad thing. Like I said, there's enough going for the movie. Between the rules, the Midnight Man, and the fact that he can summon your fears, brings enough elements to it that it makes the movie feel exciting. There's something different about it. I know a lot of times there's always trying to be a movie out there that can create a new franchise. Potentially you could create a franchise out of the Midnight Man, although at the time that you are watching this specific video, there's not been a Midnight Man 2 or Midnight Man 2 in the works. So I don't know if we will get another Midnight Man. I would be interested to see how another Midnight Man movie would play out. Because again, with the rules in place, and might I also add, structured rules in place, where clear as day, you know right away what rules you have to follow. And of course, there's all these little kind of gray areas in which the Midnight Man will follow those same rules. I think, again, where the Bye Bye Man suffered with really trying to introduce too much and establish too many rules and too many backstories of the Bye-Bye Man. I feel like the Midnight Man here is a more successful outing and a more successful version of the Bye-Bye Man. If you did like the Bye-Bye Man, but maybe felt it could have been structured a little bit better, maybe this is the movie you may want to pick up and give it a try. By the way, just before we close off this review, I just want to show you that Scream Factory, like they always do, give you an alternate insert. So there is the new insert for their release of the movie. If you flip it around, here is the original Midnight Man cover. I have to say it's not as exciting, although it does play a little bit more into the rule end of it, the actual gameplay that kids can get to, whereas the new cover kind of only just establishes this as more like a ghoul, a phantasm, a spirit, if you will. I do like this cover, I think, a lot more than I like this cover right here. The read-ups and everything else are exactly the same on this side as they are on this side, although the artwork, different scenes are captured there in the movie. Yes, my walk-away experience from watching The Midnight Man was generally pretty good. It does have, at some points, I will admit, some slower, dragged-out moments in the movie, but otherwise, I walked away feeling pretty good about it, and I would like to see another sequel, like another one of these coming out. Of course, gone are the days of the Jasons, the Candymans, the Freddy Kruegers. It would be nice to see a new horror, a horror monster, get himself a franchise. I know we have Hatchet and Victor Crowley, but I'd like to maybe see some more spiritual creatures. Something like maybe The Midnight Man getting a sequel. Like I said, this is going to be slated for release on June 5th, 2018 by Scream Factory, so if you are interested in picking this up for yourself, you should be able to find them in stores on June 5th, 2018. Today we were having a look at the Scream Factory upcoming release of The Midnight Man on Blu-ray. If you guys want to see more of these movie reviews and movie kind of updates, let me know down below in the comments section. If you also want to go back and have a look at some of these Scream Factory previous videos that I've done reviews of, there is a playlist on this channel called Shout Factory or Scream Factory Blu-ray Reviews. You can go back and have a look at that. Make sure you hit that little subscribe button down below, bunkos, as well. That'll guarantee you that when new videos are coming onto this channel, you'll never miss out. As always, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.